All right, guys. I'm gonna talk about a couple things right quick. The most recent one I think I'm gonna talk about. Well, let me talk about both incidents first. They both happened in Atlanta, within about close to a month apart. This is DJ Wolf. All right, guys. This is only my second podcast in about a few weeks. I was kind of contemplating pulling my podcast for a while because I actually due to a couple of things, a couple of financial restraints and other things I'm trying to do. I may bring the music box back online. I'm a little behind on that, but I'll talk about it on another podcast. But anyway, right now I want to talk about this mess is going on in Atlanta. Where cops mess with people. The first one, I don't know if I talked about it from the last podcast where it was this couple, but college kids, college students, they were actually coming from a protest. They actually were minding their business, leaving a protest. They weren't directly involved with any of the violence or protests or anything like that. Next thing you know, about half a dozen police officers came to the car, tased the young girl, pulled her out the car, tased her. Young man broke his window, tased him while he was trying to get the taser off his girlfriend, and drug him out of there. I think he went into shock for a minute. And then I heard about, and then Friday, I was watching CNN. The protest was still going in Atlanta. And this was Friday afternoon. Of course, you got people that were protesting out there in Atlanta. Were dancing around with some National Guardsmen. Now, I know it was a very party-like atmosphere, which I thought was extremely strange. I really did. It was extremely, extremely strange to me. Because I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't the purpose of the protest is to protest, not to be throwing a party? Like somebody said at work today, it's like, what are you celebrating for? Right? There's nothing to celebrate. You know, right now it's about protesting, peaceful protesting, of course, but it's about getting your point across peacefully. You know, ain't about no damn partying. What's wrong with y'all people? You know? Your purpose is not to party during the protest, period. You know? I didn't understand it. So, of course, I woke up Sunday morning and I heard about another incident. A police-involved incident, of course. Or a police-involved shooting. There was a man, a 27-year-old man, I guess he was at a Wendy's drive-thru. And of course, him being at the drive-thru, he was, I guess he was knocked out, unconscious or whatever. I can't exactly say. They said he was out of it, actually, where he was like sleeping. And of course, during that moment and during that time period, they were trying to what's going on here, man? These people drive like they ain't got nowhere else to go. Oh my God, these people can't drive worth a damn. Really? Oh my God, these people are crazy on these roads, man. But anyway, so he was in the car. I guess he was slumped over or humped over or whatever. And so he was in the drive, like he was asleep or something. That's cool with the story. The body cam didn't show that. So the cop knocked on the window. They got him out the car or whatever. And I guess he was talking to him. You know, normal conversation. So they gave him a sobriety test. And he had mentioned this once they gave him the sobriety test. The sister and house was just around the corner from there. Keep that in mind. So once they gave him the sobriety test, they turned around and they attempted to arrest him, on suspicion of DWI. All right. But he admitted that he had been drinking. Keep that in mind as well. So next thing you know, as they were trying to cuff the man, a struggle ensued. The video I saw showed him being on the ground, and officers were trying to restrain him. And so and I guess the officer was trying to grab his taser to tase the man. The man was already on the ground. The man grabbed the taser from the cop. He tussled with the cops. Cops were both on the ground. He got up with the taser, started running. Cops ran after him. And as the cops were running after him, he turned with the taser, pointing the taser at the cop, and the other cop shot him 3 times. Shot him in the back. He was found dead. Now, here's my thing. First question comes to mind. You know you were drinking. And you know your sister's house is right around the corner. Here's my thing. And this is just me. And I'm not criticizing the man one way or another at this point. I know some people probably take it real sensitive, and I don't want you to. It's just my opinion. That's what opinions are made for, because everybody has one. Me, myself, if my sister's house is around the corner, and I know I didn't, maybe had a drink or two. First thing come to mind is, oh man, why is traffic lights messed up? Jesus. First thing come to mind is that this is, oh my God. He stopped. What do you stop for? It couldn't make it any easier me trying to get across here, huh? It's on both sides too. Damn, I hate that. But my thing of it is, if you had one beer drink, okay, that's just me. Why would I drive to Wendy's if I knew it was a chance and I was that tired? I would just be in the car trying to go home. I would have just stayed over at my sister's house if that was the case and walked over to Wendy's and came back. That's just me. But, that was an option. Had you thought about it, maybe he didn't think about that. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But what I would have thought about is, consider this man was a man who had a family of 4. I don't think him and his wife was married. I can't confirm or deny it. Might have been common law. I don't know. But anyway, because she didn't take his last name. What I found out, at least the way it was presented. But in any case, just the fact that he wasn't, I don't know if he was thinking in his right mind when he did what he did. When they arrested him for suspicion of DWI, which I think that was the arrest. And I'm not even giving them officers benefit of the doubt on that, because you got to hear me out here. One of the things I know I would not have done, knowing 2 officers, right, they arrest me. We have a great conversation. I'd ask what I'm about to be arrested for. Of course, I get my lawyer. But here's the problem that I got. And I know another guy talked about it on his YouTube channel. And I agree with him. To a point. I'm thinking myself, I'm an officer. And I'm trying to put myself in the officer's place. Not about black and white at this point. You're in the car, okay? And your alcohol level is above what the normal is supposed to be. Okay? because the guy admitted he was drinking, right? And you're in the car, sleep, in a Wendy's drive-thru. Think about it. God forbid that you're in the Wendy's drive-thru in the car, in the Wendy's drive-thru, right? Okay, you want to stupid, right? You go ahead, man. I ain't worried about it. I could have just did AD on you easily, but I'm not gonna. I ain't no showboat. But you're in the Wendy's drive-thru, sleep. I'm a police officer, all right? I'm trying to hold the peace, all right? Protect and serve. That's their job. But I'm trying to put myself in the officer's place. What kind of police officer would I be? And this is barring what happened to the man when they attempted to stop him. This is the other whole. I'm not even got to that. But what kind of officer would I be if I did not attempt to arrest somebody on suspicion of DWI if I know he's drunk? If I let him go with a warning and he has tested, his alcohol level tested above the normal. What kind of police officer would I be if I just let him go? Talk about, oh, well, you could, because somebody was saying, oh, you could just let him go and go over to the sister's house and give him a warning. No, bump that shit. Okay? He slumped in his car, drunk, in a Wendy's drive-thru. And I'll tell her what could have happened. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how drunk he really was. But according to what they were saying, that his alcohol level was above the normal. And usually when it is, you get charged with DWI. Okay, whether you driving or not. But he wasn't driving. Don't want to hear it. Okay? And you were in the car by yourself, and you were behind the wheel. Number two, this man, knowing there's a chance that he may not win this fight, if you're fighting two police officers, and both of them likely, but well, in this case, they were both white, down in Georgia, of all places, Atlanta, and in Georgia. And you're trying to fight them because you didn't want to get arrested for the DWI, which you probably had other charges. I don't know if you did or not. I can't substantiate or not. Don't know. All right? And I'm not saying to be an asshole or not. I'm really not. But I'm just looking at it from an officer's standpoint. Okay? While I'm trying to arrest you, I'm having a hard time restraining you. And in the worst case scenario that I'm going to use, I'm not going to take a gun and shoot you. Because the first thing they did was use a taser. And in fact, they did. But you, as a suspect, grabbed the taser out of my hand. And you're drunk. And you've been behind the wheel of a car. Okay? Which, lesser charge, had he not done anything, probably would have been public drunkenness. Probably. I don't know that for certain. You know, had you not been driving and just walked away, but let me get to that point. But the worst case there was at the time was tase you because you were being, you didn't show any, you resisted the officers arresting you. All right. So they had a hard time restraining you. You grabbed it. You grabbed the taser. Now, taser is not considered a lethal form of weaponry. It can be in some cases because you don't know if that person has a heart condition or not. That's another whole story. So technically it can be. You know? And that's real talk. And that's my whole point. Where they talking about, oh, well, taser is different from a gun. In a way it is, in a way it's not. Depends on the person. And that's been proven. You know? Now, he grabs the taser from the officer, runs with the taser. All right? As he runs with the taser, the officers get up, after the struggle ensued, and he got up and got free. He runs with the taser. The officers run after him. As he was pointing the taser at him, they shoot him 3 times. And that's the problem I got. Now, even though it was justified, technically, I'm on the fence with it. On one hand, they didn't have to shoot him. They could have shot him with the taser. But here's the thing. The officer did shoot him again with the taser, or shot him with the taser, and the taser was ineffective. I'll say that. But by him having the taser in his hand, that guy, the suspect, could have committed a crime against somebody else Could have. I say would, but he could have. You know? Because it's a weapon to stop somebody. There have been crimes been known to people where people have been robbed by people who had tasers in their hand or been incapacitated during a robbery because people had tasers used against them from rough suspects. That's been known. But y'all don't want to talk about that. You know, y'all could say, well, we could have took him home. Yeah, that's true. They could have took the keys from him. They could have walked him over his sister's house. That's also true. But would he have let them do that? We don't know. You know, you better move up, friend. Yeah, not slow down. They still wouldn't do it. But it's kind of a hard decision on that. And the guy could have easily fired the taser at the officer, making him incapacitated, and then he could have took his gun from him. So it's a lot of scenarios with that. My thing is, why would you have a taser try and point it at a cop? Number one. Number two, why would you try to fight the cops for trying to restrain you and arrest you because you were arrested on suspicion of DWI, which was on your own. It was on you at that point. That part was. Not the shooting. But number three, knowing why would you take a risk of trying to fight two police officers for trying to arrest you for suspicion of DUI. One suspicion, you were caught with DWI because you was in the car drunk. Knowing you got a family. You got a wife and 4 kids. Okay? In this case, because they had different last names, I'll say common law. Traffic back to normal again. So, although I'm not gonna lie, I feel bad for the children. I'm not gonna lie. I feel bad for the children because they lost their father. And the bad part about it, they lost their father roughly a week before Father's Day. That's what's sad. What's really messing me up is the fact that I don't know if this guy was thinking rationally when this thing took place, man. I really don't think he was thinking. That's the sad part about it. The other thing is really messed up. I don't know if I should feel sad for the cops or not because I don't really think it was a police officer's fault. I really don't. Not completely. I think they did rush to shoot him, though. I mean, I think that was foolhardy for them to have done that. Well, come on, man. Really? Did not give people a chance to move up? They don't move. It's on you, partner. He ain't gonna keep around going. Then he gonna wait. Then he gonna try to get over. You know, I don't know. I think it's the whole thing is foolhardy. Like I don't know what. It's extremely foolhardy. It really is. You know, but I don't know. I mean, the officers could use better judgment. They could have just kept running. I mean, he wasn't that far away from them guys. They could have called. It was 2 officers. The problem I got is that you shot him 3 times. I don't know how many rounds went in him, but they shot him enough that they killed him. And I don't think that it necessarily was. I think on some level it may have been justified, only because he had the taser in his hand. If he didn't have taser hands, it would be one thing. And that's the only thing that I'm wrestling with. Because I did say it. I posted on the post on YouTube and said that. Because I kind of felt like, you know what you was walking into the moment you were fighting with the cops. When you knew you was in the wrong. And you knew you was in the wrong. And then you take the stun gun out their hand. Because the stun gun can be used to incapacitate people. That's what it's for. But then his lawyer, the family trying to justify. You can't justify that. I'm sorry. You can't justify his action on his part, no matter what happened. It wasn't his part was definitely not justified. Him fighting with the cops for something he knew he was wrong for doing was not justified. He was 27 years old. He knew better. And I know some people are like, oh, you cool. Ain't about not being no cool. Now, and I said on the post, Cut to the Chase TV, I said on the post, yeah, I did. I said that I felt was justified. Only because the fact that he could have endangered somebody's safety by taking a stun gun and probably robbing, incapacitating that person while trying to get away from cops. Because the stun gun is not actually used as a weapon, but it is used to stop a person from committing a crime. Because I wasn't actually hit with, so actually I was. It's been so long ago. But I do know that they do use it as a way to stop people without using deadly force. But you can still incapacitate somebody with it. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Just think if one officer was still down and the other one was running after him and he had popped that officer with that stun gun and shot the officer. How do he know the officer didn't know that you weren't going to pop with the stun gun and then take his gun? Because that could have easily happened. Yeah, we know it's not a lethal weapon, but to incapacitate somebody enough to take advantage of, yes. That can happen. That could have happened. So that's why I said, in a way, I justify it. Only because he had a stun gun, although non-lethal, he could have incapacitated that officer and took advantage of that officer after that. That's the only reason why I say that. And I know some people won't be like, well, no, he had to do it all. No, they didn't have to do it all. Let's be honest. But did that brother have to risk his family losing him because of something stupid he did? Think about it. You know, many of us African-American men have had families, and the last thing many of us will ever want to have done was risk our family losing us to some stupid shit. Myself included. You know? You have to really be well thought out to think about what you get into before you get into it. And my parents tell me that stuff all the time. Think about what you're doing before you do it. Think about the consequences. Always. I tell my son the same thing. You know? You got to really think about it. And I don't know if I think he had time, he just didn't think about it. And to me, it was foolish thinking on the way he reacted. His reaction was just kind of like, it just wasn't. He wasn't using the level head. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it. He really was not. He was not. No doubt about it. No doubt in my mind. He was not using a level head when he did what he did. And it cost him his life. You know. But surprisingly, they ruled it a homicide. You know. But hey, like I said, probably the only reason why they ruled it a homicide was to calm people down, because eventually they're gonna go to court and they're gonna drop charges anyway. I already know what's gonna happen. It's been happening. Now, the George Floyd case, that's a different story. You know, George Floyd, unlike Mr. Brooks, didn't resist arrest. Matter of fact, they took Floyd in the squad car and beat him up. Or at least it appeared they were beating him up in the squad car when they showed the video. You know? And then the next thing you know, they show him with Derek Chauvin's knee on his neck, breaking it. And that's already been proved beyond reasonable doubt that he murdered him. But let's see what the courts do about it. You know? And no doubt that case, that was definitely not justified no matter how you slice it. This one, as far as I'm concerned, I do feel was. Only because Mr. Brooks had taken the stun gun from the officer's hand and could have used it to incapacitate him, being an officer or a civilian, and take advantage of the situation, even though he was drunk. That's the only reason I'm saying that. And I don't even know why he would even had even thought about taking a risk like that in the first place, considering you got a wife and 4 kids, man. You know the old saying goes, Rather be tried by 6 than buried by 12. Real talk. This is DJ Wolf. I'm out.